я б зробив все можливе, щоб цього не відбулося.
Alex says he would have killed himself if Russians made him fight against Ukraine.
It's estimated that at least 20,000 Ukrainian children have been abducted by the Russians from occupied Ukrainian territory. But the organization Save Ukraine believes that number is much higher. The children that they save, that they rescue, are anywhere between 5 and 20 years old.
Abduction happening every day in occupied territories. That's why that 20,000 children, this number, which happened 3 years ago, when Ukraine identified these kids as abducted.
Both Peter and Alex were rescued by Save Ukraine. When Russia's full-scale invasion began in 2022, Alex was 16 and living in an orphanage in Kherson. The Russians moved him to several camps in occupied territory, including Crimea, where he says the goal was to erase his Ukrainian identity and reprogram him into a Russian kid, including forcing him to only speak Russian. He and others were forced to make pro-Russia propaganda videos to get food and money. He also says he was threatened at gunpoint and eventually sent a conscription notice to join the Russian army.
If I hadn't had the opportunity to get out of Russia, I likely would have been forced to fight against Ukraine. I would have done everything in my power to prevent that, even if it meant an act of suicide.
The violence against Ukrainian children has not been limited to abductions.
We found out many kids who've been deported from occupied territories and rescued by Save Ukraine, they experienced sexual abuse and trafficking.
Save Ukraine provided us with this video of a Russian website featuring abducted Ukrainian children, both girls and boys, who can be filtered by age, eye color, health status. It even identifies whether they're deemed obedient and submissive. Mykola says this database is an invitation for child traffickers, pedophiles, and organized criminals across Russia to pick and choose children they want to quote-unquote adopt. The main reason for these abductions? Population needs on two fronts.
First of all, to turn them into Russian children and into Russian soldiers, and they need more soldiers. And it's a demographic catastrophe in Russia. They need population. This is why you can find a special program for school children, for girls. You should give birth for Russia, your first child, in 14.
Russia is now experiencing over 30,000 casualties each month, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, and Russia's birth rate is rapidly declining. But saving these Ukrainian children can be dangerous. This bus is outfitted to survive almost any Russian attack.
It's bulletproof bus with 6 levels of safety, and we use it for evacuation, and no guns can destroy it, only maybe tanks or rockets, but it's special type of rockets.
In future, whole the world will understand and will call this genocide, because it's massive indoctrination, massive turning of Ukrainian identity to Russian identity, what Russia's doing now.
Save Ukraine says they have rescued over 1,350 children thus far. The U.S. State Department has actually given them a grant to continue their work rescuing children, as well as to help rehabilitate them in houses just like the ones behind me, in addition to trauma healing.